Today I would like to talk about focus. I want to say today I want to focus on focus. That could work too. Amazingly often, the main problem that people bring into the coaching session is a request to bring them back into the focus. As entrepreneur, or maybe that's not your reasoning. The reasoning can be very different. But as entrepreneur, you have to be able to follow through your inner commitments. Whether you design the plan or strategic or tactical plan, or made an impulsive decision that you still is right outside of your plan, you need to be able to take one particular task that requires continuity and follow through. Very often, you, I, we get distracted. Now let's talk about that. Understanding what brings you out of focus will help you to get into the focus, obviously. Yes? Yes. Now, if we investigate how the distraction happens, you will find that the process is very similar to how the addiction is happening. Any kind of addiction. If you look at addiction to food, addiction to drug, addiction to alcohol, to sex, to anything at all, the underlying nature of addiction is the same. You, as a human being, have emotions that you have very hard time to handle. It feels very uncomfortable or painful. And you go after that thing that you're craving. Whatever it is. A little bit more food in the fridge, sugar, sex, anything that helps you feel relief can have effect of relief from the pain. I hope you understand it before you go after your next thing that you know you shouldn't take. Right? Now, that seems obvious. What do I do? You probably expect that I will give you a recipe that is super complicated and very comprehensive and has a great framework. Instead, I will give you very, very, very simple recipe, but you must be willing to use it. If you feel overwhelming emotion in relation to focus, usually it's emotion of boredom or sense of incompetency. But I don't know, and I don't know. Squirrel! Right? Any emotion that is discomfortable, uncomfortable emotion, you simply sit in it. Go deep in it. Don't escape or avoid. I know, it's like, whoa, okay, that's it. Yes, that's it. That's it. You have to train your inner resilience to be able to withstand pain of any kind, emotional at this point we're talking about. It's absolutely inevitable in your life to be faced with emotions that are very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And you often have no control when they're arising, but you have gained control how you manage them and make them subside much faster. The impulsive emotion that comes as a result of some triggers that you might be not conscious about at all. Usually triggers are very unconscious. You don't have choice. And then emotions arise and take you over, and then you do things you do. I do things I do. Instead, just be present to what you feel instead of hiding. What you do, most probably, if that's relevant to you, then I will use the word you. Okay? So we have a conversation. You do cover up. You feel, you don't want to feel it, you cover it up. You go to check messages on Facebook or phone, or you go quickly in email again. Number 100 today, instead of doing something useful, you are going for the food. You're doing something else, or you switch into another task which seems more promising at that moment, and then justify it. I see it all the time. Why didn't you do what's on your calendar? Well, because that important task was, well, didn't you put it on calendar just today for the later? So how that task was so incredibly important again, as it's important, how is it possible? Could you do it tomorrow instead? Or hour after? How did you do it instead? Right? So it has to be, you have to have awareness that it's not objective reality that kicked in suddenly. There's nothing sudden. It's your inner choice, conscious or unconscious, whether you are aware or not, your inner choice to cover up what you actually feel in relation to that particular task, or what you're feeling during execution of the task, which can be absolutely not related to task itself. It could be, for example, just so you understand the dynamics of inner emotional landscape, maybe as you're doing this task, something in it, absolutely beyond your awareness, reminds you, just because you're doing it, maybe you were doing it at that moment, but there is something from the past triggers particular feeling in you that are feeling very uncomfortable. Maybe during that task that you executed 10 years ago, someone said something to you that was super painful, for example, triggered some emotions of discomfort. Shame, for example. Shame is a very painful feeling. Insecurity, something that creates insecurity. Now, every time you want to do this task, maybe it's sales call. I don't know what it is. You feel in it. You don't know why you feel it, but you feel in it and you can't stand it. So the mind co-op by creating another story. Oh, but that is more important. And it's not the truth. It's coping mechanism. It's cover-up. It's your avoidance. It's your retreat. I use the word retreat a lot. What you need to understand about it, a retreat is not just completely withdrawal. It's most often withdrawal from something and then cover up and switch. So retreat and switch. And that's a distraction. And that's the addiction. That's the distraction, destructive behavior, or behavior of engaging in distractions is addiction. The same landscape, the same nature, the same process is happening. I'm feeling something now. Most often, I don't know what I'm feeling because I don't have somatic awareness. I don't understand what the signs in my body point to. All I know is uncomfortable. That's all I know about it. Something needs to happen different than what's happening now in me. That's all I know. And then the mind looking for, but why is it? What is it? And it does it so fast that you most probably not noticing that pointer. And it's, oh, that's more important. I need to focus on that instead. And it's always happening. I think I need to focus on that, on that, on that, on that. And that day nothing happened. Nothing productive happened. Why? Because during the process, you were not looking very carefully for signs of this retreat. What did switch you from one to another? What made you justify? Not what justification is. Because justifications very much sometimes, they're logical. They look logical. If you're an intelligent person, your justifications, your mental constructs to protect your retreats will be very, very intelligent and look very reasonable and sound very reasonable. But most often, in 99.9999% of the time, they are cover-ups for real reason why you didn't do it, and instead, squirrel. What did you feel? Sensations in the body is how we know the feelings. What sensations in the body you were feeling, or what did you think, which is prior to the feeling itself? If you can catch that, what thought was prior to acknowledging your feeling? Emotion that arises as a result of the thought. What did you think and feel? What can you catch before squirrel? Can you catch it? That's your work. Can you catch it just at the beginning of it, at the root? Can you catch it there? Because later it's too late. You're already unaware of it. It's lost. Now you only know that you're already on another thing. In a long-term person, in a long-term business, in a long-term strategy. In a short term, why you are on another task right now. You just were sitting here doing something useful. Somewhere in a second, you completely lost to reality, and now you're staring at another screen, another window on your computer, another device. You do another thing. And if you ask why, mind always will give you a really good answer. But the answer, no matter how reasonable, logical it sounds, the answer most often is not the answer. It's an answer. It's some answer. Might be good, looking good, sound good, and not the answer. It's not the reason. The reason is there was something in the thought that triggered feeling uncomfortable. Can be boredom. Very often, it's just boredom. Very often, it's sense of insecurity, incompetency, but I don't know how. And interestingly enough, I don't know how very often is pointed to another thing. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. Well, then what does it mean? I don't want to do it. Maybe it's believed that, but I shouldn't be doing it. I'm better than that. I'm more experienced than that. I deserve better than doing this. Oh, right? So what the story look like, that's not for me to tell you. It's for you to discover. Sit down. Ooh, I just did this squirrel thing again. I just did retreat. I know that it's retreat because now I remember Olga was telling me that during our coaching session, and she pointed to me and I was arguing like hell because I didn't know. I didn't believe that. And now when I'm observing that, that's what happened. Interesting. So what was that emotions? I don't remember thought because I am not aware of my thinking. It just one thought and another. I did not build that mindfulness process within me to be mindful. Ideally mindless, so less of the mind, emptier, but that's playing the word here, right? I did not yet build awareness of my thinking process. I didn't develop it yet. I'm still in the process of learning it. But can I at least see just in the moment, if I really turn on my awareness, can I just see what happened? How did I move from one thing to another and I didn't even notice it practically, it just moved. And now I can explain to everybody in the world why, and that's just justification. It's just excuse. It's not the real reason. The reason is there's some thought that was just as a cloud of my thinking just passed me by. Some thought hit me right in my belly, maybe. Like, oh, feeling bad, not good. Squirrel. Okay? So, can you be present to any feeling that you are having in the moment and not believing in it? Not believing that it's a legitimate, reasonable feeling to feel and not identifying with it. It's just feeling that is a result of just thought. A thought that it will be gone in no time. And the feeling will be gone in no time as long as you're focusing on the feeling itself when you're feeling it and give it your full attention. Give your full attention to this feeling. I'm not saying it will be comfortable or easy. You might need to endure pain of it because some feelings are really uncomfortable. Some thoughts that bring shame, for example, guilt, these are very uncomfortable. Anger is easier. As you feel anger, you feel justified and righteous, and anger is actually feeling good for some people. Sense of insecurity, not feeling good. Anything that creates this sense of insecurity, shame, guilt, this I feel small, I'm feeling these feelings. For some feeling sadness. Some people don't like sadness because it feels like weak. Feeling anger sometimes feels like, oh, I'm so strong when I'm feeling anger, but I'm so weak when I feel sadness. So whatever combination of emotions or single emotion, for you the most painful, that will create probably the most of your retreats are created by those emotions. Witness them, get to know them, those emotions. Very often they're very useful. They're pointers to your patterns and habits and belief systems that don't serve you, because if it brings emotions in you that are negative emotions, usually those belief systems are simply to be deconstructed, to be reframed or let go of completely if you're willing and can. Can you sit in your feelings without retreats, switches, avoidance? I'll use different words, so whatever resonates with you works for me. As long as you understand that there's this, I was focused here, something came up, because there I can feel better. I feel better in my fridge, right there. There's sugar, yum, yum, yum. Ooh, I can feel better in online dating site, despite the fact that I know what my integrity, I'm married, or whatever the situation someone can have. But there, I can have some little, I get laid and it feels good, at least much better than I'm feeling over here. Or maybe I'm not that good husband or wife in relation to my loved one, not so much integrity in me, or there is something I don't want to do or say or feel. But there, quickly, I can get a quick fix. It's not a conversation on morality. Okay, so I want to be clear about it. Whatever you choose to do with your life, your choice. As long as you still include other people in choices that you make, because you don't want to hurt people that you care about, right? So meditation, of course, stay in integrity, whatever it means for you, and whatever it might mean for people that you're committed to, right? But that's a separate conversation. Ethic and morality is not usually what I really want to talk about ever, because it's very subjective and relative too, sometimes. What I want to talk to you, it's your resilience, your willingness to admit, to see, to process, to get deeply in it, as deep as you can. If it feels hurt, go in that hurt, be brave. It's not going to be forever. It might be hard in the moment, and it feels like it's going to be, oh my goodness, it's a long moment. Oh, it hurts so good. It hurts so good. But when you come out of this hurt that hurts so good, then it feels so good. It feels so good not only to know that you overcome it, you can overcome it, but also the contrast, that's another conversation. The contrast, the sharp pain, and this gives you pleasure. You can feel pleasure much better when you feel pain, so that's all good. In the human experience of embodied experiencing, contrast between pain and pleasure is really good stuff. You might explore it if you choose to. Don't cause pain to others unless they ask you to. Can you understand what we are pointing together to? Can you understand that your focus, it's not any different skill to develop than skill to be able to sit willing first, and then able to go deep in what's happening to me right now that make me want to escape it. What is this it that make me want to escape? Is it boredom? What's wrong with boredom? Okay, it's a boring task, yes. So sit and be bored for a second. Focus on that boredom. Give it attention. Close your eyes if all you need. I'm so bored, oh my God. And look at that boredom. You will be bored looking at your boredom and feeling your boredom. I promise you that. The mind gets bored of absolutely everything, even to look at itself from standpoint of its boredom. The boredom becomes boring, and you will find another emotion through the boredom, through getting into your boredom, not out of it through escapes and into your addiction of any kind, or change the focus of your daily routine that you committed to a day before. And that's all you need to do to be very disciplined and good with planning. You sit down, you develop focus around what's the priorities, what needs to be done, and how I can accomplish it. and fill your calendar with daily tasks, hour by hour, 30 minutes by 30 minutes slots, whatever is the duration of tasks that you need to accomplish. Break it down so it doesn't look so scary. If you master just this particular item, just this one thing that I'm trying to chew from different angles, or from the same angle, different words really. If you master that single thing, you can be so much happier. It will give you so many different skills. You can cure any addictions, all your ADDs that you were diagnosed with, maybe, or choose to believe because someone else with ADD is, I don't know, maybe Steve Jobs. Oh, then I'm entrepreneur. Great one, talented one. Right? I heard it from a number of people actually, the same thing. It's so interesting. I love my ADD. You said I don't have ADD? No. Wait a minute. I do have it because I want to. It's not because I actually have it. It's because that's how I want to be defined. That's how my absence of focus wants to be labeled, because this is complementary label. While some other perception of it might not look complementary in my identity, so I'm not going to let it go. That's your choice. Because the question is always, whatever you've got there, on the level of your habits and patterns and personality expressions, does it serve you? Does it bring you what you want? Does it bring peace and comfort and balance around you? Or you are so destructive and so chaotic and so neurotic that nobody can be or work with you? Because the energy creates this replication everywhere, and everybody feel the same. They don't know why, but it's the energy that they're bubbling in, and they can't handle it either, and then they do their own retreats, right? And so it's perpetual. It's interesting. Peace produces peace. Neurosis of any kind produces conflicts because it's discomfort. People want to confront it by living, by directly confronting, and whatever it is, right? Nobody likes negative feelings. Nobody likes negative emotions. Everybody tries to avoid it through anything else than getting inside of it. That's what I'm feeling. Ooh, it's so good. And you sit, and it hurts so good, and you sit. And now it doesn't anymore. It doesn't. Because pain gets bored of itself. When it's given full attention, it fully seen, recognized, and acknowledged. It's almost, you can say, pain is almost like an entity of its own. It wants to be seen and understood. I'm not saying that pain has its own mind. That's not what I'm implying. It's just a metaphor. Right? So imagine that pain is your baby. That will be easier for you. Give it attention. Give it love. Because love is presence, really, right? Give it full attention as where you are in the moment. And if you already switched and made your retreat, withdrawal and switch, that's your retreat. If you made it, you know you abandoned what you're feeling, and you're already too late now. You can look back and try to remember, but most probably you're too late. If you're too far away, especially if you made few of those retreats. Retreat. Oh, this one is not as good a feeling either. Retreat. And this one is not feeling good. Retreat. I found myself here. Now you don't remember the chain of events. By events, I mean thoughts, action, thought, action, and feelings in between. Right? If you stay present to all your inner motives of actions, you will feel so much better. You'll feel cleaner, more energized, more accomplished too, because the presence to what is within you without escape will allow you to accomplish so much more in a very short term and in a very long term. So my invitation If you, dear entrepreneur, want to make difference in the world, make difference in your own first, because that will be really helpful, if nothing else, to accomplish your external goals. Okay? And with that, I want to thank you for your time, for being with me today. And if you need help, you feel my addictions are not that easy, I can't understand them, can't break them down that easy as you promised me that it's easy, I can't sit in it. If that's not easy, please reach out. I will be happy to sit down with you at no charge at first and look at what's going on and help you to develop inner strategies that will be very helpful to design your business strategies, because decision-making process is the process. As any process, it starts from understanding where you're going and where you're starting and what can be in the way. So it's all wonderful stuff that I would be happy to work with you on, but reach out and we'll talk about it. Meanwhile, have a fantastic day. Committed to what